All right, folks. Well, the 2026 sequences are now officially live. So I figured I'd get started on the tutorial videos for this coming year and give everybody a head start. So we're going to start with basic, and we're just going to run through the sequence first of all. So the first maneuver is a loop. We're going to start in the center box. Release a little bit of elevator pressure across the top to keep it round. Throttle back, get back into the elevator, and exit where we started. Next is a reverse half Cuban. We're going to pull to the 45. 1, 2, 3, half roll. 1, 2, 3, pull. To get that half roll centered, we count on that 45. And then next maneuver is an aileron roll in the center box right in front of us. It's hard to be perfect when I'm recording on this simulator because it's so jumpy. Figure 4, Immelman. It's a half inside loop. With a half roll on exit. And figure 5 is just a 45-degree downline. Figure 6, hammerhead with nothing up, nothing down. And then my favorite maneuver from this year's basic is the Humpty Bump center box, half roll, pull across the top, half roll, and exit. And then we have a half square loop or just a vertical upline, whatever you want to call it, a half roll, and then a 2-turn spin into a down shark's tooth. You can go any direction you want here. There's 1, there's 2. Establish the down line. We're going to pull to a 45. We'll fly that 45 nice and tall here because figure 10 is the split S. Half roll and pull. And that's the 2026 basic known. So let's go over a couple of things. First of all, the loop. One of the common things you'll see in a loop, and I'll put smoke on for this, is people get up here and they just keep pulling. And what that does is make the loop, you can see I exited higher than I started, and it creates kind of an egg shape. And so one of the things you want to do on the loop is initiate that radius, pull, and as you get to the top, you want to release a little bit, just a touch. It doesn't take much at all, and then slowly come out of that power, and then slowly get back into your elevator. That creates a nice round loop, and it helps you finish right where you started. So that's the loop. And then the reverse Cuban. So a lot of things we'll see here are short long. People will pull the 45, they'll half roll, and then they'll fly this really long. And that's a deduction. You want that half roll to be right in the middle of that 45. So I'll turn around and start it again. And that's why we count. So this time we'll start it. We'll pull to the 45. 1, 2, 3. Half roll. 1, 2, 3, and then pull. And keep that power until the nose breaks that horizontal. That helps keep the radius of that 5/8 loop round. A lot of people will pull to that 45, they'll half roll, and then they'll chop the power and pinch like that. And so what you want to do is get that 45, half roll, and then carry the power until you get to that nose past the horizontal point. That helps keep that nice and round as you come around the 5/8 loop there to finish the reverse half Cuban. And then the aileron roll, as we discussed in last year's video, you can be too fast. So you can come in here and you can just whip it around like that. And that's fine and all. The problem with that is, one, it's hard to time rudder and elevator as you come through that, and so you'll lose. It's hard to see on the simulator, but you can see how if I just roll fast and don't make any corrections, it tends to lose altitude there. And the other problem is it's hard to stop when you go full roll like that. It's hard to stop it perfectly, and all those are downgrades for an under rotation or an over rotation. So there's somewhere in between. You also don't want to do this long, drawn-out slow roll because that's difficult, and all those changes in altitude there are deductions. So it's somewhere in the middle. You want it to be something like that. See how I was able to stop it perfectly there with no deduction. And I'm ever so slightly breathing on elevator and rudder as I'm coming through here. So it's left rudder, down elevator, right rudder, back to upright. And if you struggle with that, one thing you can start doing is practicing a point roll. So you can do a point roll, see how much rudder it takes to hold that. See how much down elevator it takes to hold that. See how much right rudder it takes to hold that. And then you can start transitioning that into just the normal aileron roll without stopping. You can also practice slow rolls. That'll really help you see how much rudder and elevator you need to get that right. And then slowly work up until you get to the speed that you want for the aileron roll, which looks something like that. And then the next up would be figure 4, the Immelman. One of the gotchas I could see here would be sometimes it's hard to know if you're actually level at the top of that. See, it kind of looked like right there I might have been nose high just a little bit on that one. That's where a flight coach would come in real handy here. If you don't know what a flight coach is, look that up online. It's a little GPS thing you can put in the plane, and it helps. You can download it to your computer afterwards, and you can see whether or not you're level right here at the top. So really making sure you're nice and level, and then executing that half roll to come out of it. The 45 is pretty self-explanatory. The only issues we see there are too steep or too shallow. So just be mindful of that. A 45-degree angle is actually quite steep when you look at it. And then the hammerhead. This year's hammerhead's a lot easier without having it belly in towards you. So it's pretty self-explanatory as well. I like to flip a switch for my hammerhead. And that kind of gets into the realm of setup, which I'm still planning on doing a video for that. But on low rates, I don't quite have enough to get it over there. You can do it, but it's really risky. You have to be really careful. So I like to have a lot of rudder throw to really pivot that wing over. So I get to the top, I power back, I flip my switch. Well, that one was ugly, but you get the point of the flipping the switch. And then I'm right back off of the switch as soon as I reestablish that down line. Let's do one more. Let's see if I can't get it right this time. We're going to pull to the vertical. We're going to fly the vertical. We're going to power back. We're going to switch over. We're going to pivot, switch back, locks back in the down line with no waggle, and then we exit upright. And then figure 7, the Humpty Bump. We're going to pull to a vertical. We're going to half roll, carry the power, just like in the half Cuban. We're going to carry the power until that nose breaks horizontal. That helps keep that top nice and round. We're going to half roll on the way out, and then exit upright. The downgrades that will to be on the lookout here on this one is the long short again, centering of the elements. A lot of people will pull, they'll immediately half roll, and they'll fly this long line, and then they'll pull over, they'll fly this long line again, and then they'll half roll and pull. All that is downgrades, depending on how short and long you make those segments. So what you want to do is pull to the vertical, 1, 2, 3, half roll, 1, 2, 3, pull. Carrying that power until we get to horizontal, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pull. Oh, that's a good example there of how on a vertical down line it's beneficial to shorten the cadence for the last half. So we're going to pull, 1, 2, 3, half roll, 1, 2, 3, we're going to pull. So because you're picking up airspeed here, 1, 2, 3, half roll, 1, 2, pull. And that actually centers the element because of the increase in airspeed. Same thing with this half square loop or the vertical upline. The downgrades are going to be how well that half roll is centered. So make sure you're counting there to center that half roll. And then just like this current year's hammerhead, a lot of people struggle in basic when they have the belly towards them like this. They don't know which way to give the rudder. And so I'll give you the easy way to tell which way to give rudder on a vertical upline when the belly is towards you. So let's say we got offline here and we half rolled. I need the tail of the plane to go to my right, so I need to give it right rudder, and that corrects it. So when the belly is towards you on an upline, what you want to look at is the tail of the plane. Whichever way the tail needs to go, so let's make it this way this time. I pulled off, I got off centered. The tail needs to go to my left from my viewpoint, so I give it left rudder. You don't even have to think about it. Just whichever way the tail needs to go from your viewpoint, not the airplane's viewpoint, is the direction of rudder that you need to give it. So let's do that one more time. We're going to pull to the vertical. We got off a little bit. We half rolled. I need that tail to go to my right, so I'm going to give it right rudder to bring that back to vertical. And then we push to an upright exit. And then the spin. I like having the spin in the center of the box for this, for basic, because it really helps you see the pitch break. I'm not going to complete that maneuver because I just want to show the initial steps into that spin. So as we bring power back, it's hard to see on the simulator because you don't really have a good reference. As I bring power back, I'm bringing elevator in. There's the nose dropping. Then I go right into my spin inputs, reestablish my downline, and then I can pull to the 45 and then push to an upright exit to complete the maneuver. A lot of stuff we see here is not enough elevator, and so as they slow down, the plane just descends like this. This is not stalled, and then they wing it over, and it gets into, none of that was stalled, and that's a zeroed spin. So as the plane loses out airspeed, you're going to increase the angle of attack so that you hold your altitude. The nose brakes right into the spin, reestablish that vertical downline, and then pull to the 45 for this maneuver, and then push to an upright exit. Let me try to do it lower. I might crash doing this, but I want you to be able to see how the plane doesn't lose altitude as I slow. So I'm bringing back to idle. Well, can't see the ground. So there's the ground. I'm bringing it back to idle. As the airplane slows down, I'm increasing the angle of attack so that the altitude never changes. And there's the stall. So that's what you really want to work on when learning how to do spins. Slowing the airplane down, increasing angle of attack as the plane slows, and then there's the drop. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to describe it on the simulator here. We'll do one more. So I bring the power to idle. As the airspeed bleeds off, I'm increasing angle of attack, holding altitude. There's the brake, into the spin, reestablish the downline, and not crash. So we'll do that maneuver all the way through one more time just so that we have it. So we're bringing airspeed down, we're increasing angle of attack, we stall into the spin, reestablish the downline, pull to a 45, fly that 45 nice and tall so that you have room for figure 10. And then figure 10 is the split S with a half roll on entry and then a half loop to an upright exit. The big things I see with the split S are chopping power and then half rolling. So it looks like this. They're flying along, they chop power, they half roll, and then they pull. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's ever so slightly a loss in altitude if you do that. Even if you correct for the loss of altitude with aileron or with rudder, you still are going to pinch right there. You're going to pinch that radius because you've lost all your airspeed. So what you want to do is, let's get back in orientation here, fly the half roll at power, then bring power back as you start the radius for the half roll. You can see that time I held altitude and my radius was not pinched at the top. And we'll do it one more time just to show it. So we're flying along at power. We're going to half roll, then reduce power, and then start our pull. I held altitude, I didn't pinch my radius, and I completed the split S. And that's about it for the basic sequence for 2026. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out. If I don't have the answer, I will make sure I get it for you and help out as much as we can. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one for Sportsman.